How's everyone doing? Today I have a awesome pickup. I've got 17 titles right here. Bang! And if you've seen any of these movies, definitely let me know what you think of them. This was from a seller who I've purchased from before. I've done a few videos talking about picking stuff up from them, and these were all really cheap. This was 40 bucks for 17 titles right here, so $2 and change a piece. That is crazy. There's some 4Ks in here, some mostly newer titles too. So that is awesome. Again, this is somebody that already preset their prices, and I'm not going to haggle with them with such a great deal like that. What am I going to try to talk about $1? I mean, that's a super crazy good deal, and I am souped. A lot of times this person, pretty sure they are a reviewer themselves, and they just have like stacks, and they just put a preset price on it. And I'm not going to haggle. I'm not going to be like, hey, I already have that one, take that one out, because I have a few of these ones in here already. So I'm still surprised. I guess they just get so many in, because there's doubles in here too. Like, I don't know. I'm thankful though. I'm thankful for the opportunity that this is the time that we live in for physical media collectors. There's so many opportunities for great deals out there. The Dollar Tree has Blu-Rays now. You can go on to all kinds of different sites out there. Let Go is an app. OfferUp, Marquis, which I've looked at, I wasn't really too impressed with that one. 5 Mile, which I think is kind of dried up, but Let Go and OfferUp are still pretty decent. And then there's Facebook groups too, and there's still Craigslist and flea markets and yard sales and stuff like that. But I think the bigger ones are the Facebook groups, like local yard sale ones, community ones, and stuff like that. And for like different counties and things of that nature. But then also Let Go and OfferUp have been really good. And then just networking from there, and I found some amazing deals. So I am excited. And even the grocery store has like $3 Blu-rays now. So I love it. So let me know what you think of this deal. I think it's awesome. Awesome-tastic. I love it. And which one is your favorite if you've seen them too? First up, 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray Digital HD Combo Pack for Aquaman. I was not a big fan of this movie. It felt like there was 3 movies jammed into one here. It was just a bloated mess. I hated the dialogue. I'm not a Jason Momoa fan. I guess he has screen presence, but I think he's a terrible actor. The dialogue in here, this is from James Wan. Come on, buddy, you could do better than this. There's a scene in here where he's like, oh, I could have peed on that. And I was like, really? This is what we're going to have here in this movie? We're just going to let that go? We're going to let that slide? And so many other things that don't make sense, like she knows how to operate boats and stuff, even though she's never been on land, and she, you know, she knows how to do all this stuff, and then she's just eating flowers. Like, really? I don't know. There's just so many things that were wrong with this movie. The visuals were amazing. That's really the main good thing about this film. Just the visual effects, the CG effects were decent too, but overall it was just a bloated mess. Poor dialogue, not a good lead actor here. I do want to see a movie when they go, like a whole movie about when they go to the center of the earth. I thought that was amazing. There's like dinosaurs. Like, I would have rather just seen a movie about that. But yeah, this was just a mess of a movie. They could have done so much more with it. A lot of editing should have been done. There was so much. It was just chaotic. But a lot of people seem to like it. I wasn't that big of a fan. But there we go. Aquaman on 4K. A 4K for $2 and change. Can't be mad at that. Next up is Creed 2. This one was damaged. I'm not going to complain too much though. Cracked case. I already have Creed 2. I already have Aquaman. I'm probably going to get rid of my copy of Aquaman too. I don't know. I don't think that rewatchability factor is there. I don't know how long. It's 2 hours and 23 minutes, but it felt like 5 hours. Like, I remember I was watching this with someone, and you know, like 15 minutes hadn't gone by, and we were like, this has to be like an hour now. It was like, it was shocking. The pacing just. In the very beginning, I was into it, and then it just kind of just fell apart. But Creed 2, I actually thought was decent. This got a lot of criticism. I thought it was a really good, solid boxing movie, very similar. If you like the first one, I think you'll enjoy this one. I like that they brought Drago and you know, his son. I like that aspect a lot, kind of tying back. It's really kind of a dark kind of plot with you know, what happened with Apollo and how they're doing that. I just thought, like, wow, that is just really dark. But they went with it. I thought all the performances were solid, and I think it's a formulaic thing. You know what's going to happen with it, but I thought it was you know, good cinematography, good heart to it. I like the training battles and stuff like that they were doing leading up to the fight and stuff. But yeah, overall I thought it was a solid, you know, boxing movie. Another one into the realm of Rocky and Creed right here. So I dug it. And again, 4K Ultra HD. Another 4K Ultra HD. Hellboy, the animated one. This is a double feature, Sword of Storms and Blood and Iron. I thought they were okay. I liked I guess it was the Blood and Iron one a little bit better. This Sword of Storms was kind of like I guess a Japanese mythology kind of one. And it was kind of very dreamlike and surreal, all these different things he has to do to get back to his reality and stop these, I guess, I don't know what they're like demons from coming into his world. And then Blood and Iron was like a vampire tale. I thought the Blood and Iron one was really good, actually. Much better than I thought it was going to be after watching Sword of Storms. Wasn't a big fan of that one, but if you like Hellboy, I think you'll enjoy this one decently enough. I wanted a little bit more overall, but Blood and Iron was definitely worth checking out. So that's the Hellboy double feature animated one. I guess this was released on Stars. There you go, another 4K title. And then Replicas, which is a newer Blu-ray release with Keanu Reeves. I'm not a Keanu Reeves fan. I do not think he's a good actor. I like some of the films that he's been in, but not because of him. I think he was better in roles like Bill and Ted's. Like, that kind of suited him. But other roles, I just felt like he was there, and anybody else could have been in that role and probably have done a better job. I know everybody loves the John Wick movies, but I feel like I just don't like him in that role either. I feel like he's just there, very monotone, very drab. The delivery just is flat and everything. He just doesn't seem to be a natural human being. Like, it's just, I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all. On this one, I was pretty much hating up until the ending. I really enjoyed the heck out of the ending. I thought it was just kind of so ridiculous, so many different things that kind of contradicted itself throughout the plot. Basically, his family is killed, and he's bringing them back kind of through, I guess, kind of cloning, essentially. And then there is this whole kind of, they can put essentially your subconscious, your mind, into like this robot right here, and they're trying to do that, and they call it replicas, and it's just so many things throughout the movie. It's just like, come on. You have to suspend disbelief with most movies, but this one was a bit much. And I was thinking it was like one of the most ridiculous, absurd movies I've ever seen. And then the ending, I really enjoyed the heck out of that. So for now, I have another copy of this for me too. I'm going to keep my copy in my collection for now, but mixed feelings on it overall. But it has some really decent, even though there's so many absurd aspects to it, I was still interested in seeing how it played out. Next up is The Rundown. This one's still sealed up with The Rock and Sean William Scott. Was it Rosario Dawson in here too? And then, of course, Christopher Walken. But yeah, I really enjoyed the heck out of this one. And I remember it being a fun time, good mixture of action and comedy, which I think both of them can play, The Rock and Sean William Scott. And I know Sean William Scott came on to the Lethal Weapon TV show with Damon Wayans. I actually really enjoyed that show with the previous actor, but I guess there's a lot of drama with him behind the scenes, so he's off there, and now Sean William Scott is in that role, and I think he was decent in there too. I think that's kind of an underrated TV show. That was a TV show I thought wasn't going to work. Like, they do a lot of those kind of adaptations of different movies and previous TV shows from back in the day, like the Magnum P.I. and Hawaii Five-0 and all those ones, and they try to recreate it for current audiences and as a TV show, and I think it doesn't work. But this one, I thought it really worked well, and I don't think a lot of people talked about it or checked it out, but I think it was worth watching. But The Rundown is a really fun ride, a very entertaining thrill ride. Again, a great mixture of action comedy. And next up is Neighbors. And actually, I have this one already too on a previous release, not this particular one. I'm debating about keeping my one. I like the artwork better on my previous release, but I don't think my one had the DVD in there. So, I don't know. I'm thinking, like, maybe if I'm somewhere down the line that somebody doesn't have a Blu-ray player, and I was thinking, that probably won't happen. So, I like the artwork much better on the previous release. Neighbors, which I love what Mill Creek is doing with these retro VHS slipcovers. And this one I don't think ever had a Blu-ray release. I think it had a, maybe it was it a Warner Archive burn-on-demand DVD release? So this one was a really ridiculous but entertaining ride. I feel like you basically watch it because of all the actors in here. John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Kathy Moriarty. It's just these crazy neighbors move in next door, Dan Aykroyd and his wife, and they're just Ramona. They're just ridiculous and basically tear up the lives of John Belushi and his wife, and just especially John Belushi. He seems to be just, you know, his whole life is turned upside down, and just dealing with the hijinks of what's going on, and basically just over the course of a night, and then the next day, and it's just everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and how crazy they are, and how it's affecting his family with his wife and then his daughter too. Just, it's ridiculous. I can't say it's necessarily a great movie, but it's entertaining to watch these people act together, especially Belushi and Aykroyd. And again, I love it. Mill Creek is doing such an amazing things. They're listening to their fans. They're doing a great job with their TV sets, and then the slipcovers, not just the retro VHS one, but they're doing slipcovers on a lot of releases now, so I definitely appreciate that. Next up is a film that I know one of my friends on here has been recommending to me, and I've heard of it, but I've never had the chance to check it out, and now I do, and I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out. They were saying it's like the most shocking film since a Serbian film, which is huge talk. But yeah, right on the back it says a shocking, and in parentheses, we mean shocking, tale of oppression and violence. Basically, I guess a group of women go to the countryside for a weekend fun, and then they're violently attacked by a psychotic father and son. And then I guess they say it's a political aspect to it, expose the horror of politics with evil that can lie within the souls of ordinary men. The back, some of the scenes there definitely look like this is going to be a thrilling, violent ride, and this is the unrated director's cut, and this is, I believe, an Argentinian film. I believe that's what I remember reading online before. But Trauma, can't wait to check that one out. Another one I'm looking forward to checking out is Luciferina. And this one, it sounds crazy and violent as well. And maybe this is an Argentinian one too. I'm not one of these. Yeah, this one actually says Argentina on the back. This one is Chile. Sorry, I mixed them up. This one is from Argentina. This one is from Chile. But this one right here this is religion, repressed sexuality, and innocence, and evil spectacularly collide in this visually explosive horror tale. I'm down. The synopsis, the scenes. This sounds like it's going to be a great, thrilling, crazy movie too. Basically, I guess this 19-year-old nun travels to the jungle with a group of friends in search of this mythical plant, ayahuasca. I'm probably way mispronouncing that. There they find the world of black masses, strange pregnancies, bloody deaths, and for the nun herself, a sexually violent clash with the devil himself. So she's going to be banging the devil, it sounds like? I don't know. But it's the scenes and then the synopsis, the clips I've seen, I'm excited for both of these. These are both from Artsploitation Films. I know they've done some really good stuff that I feel like they kind of fly under the radar. I definitely like what they've done with a lot of their independent and international films that they've released. Next up is No Alternative, which this is, I guess, set in the 90s, right after the suicide of Kurt Cobain. I guess a young kid wants to make a band, an alternative band, and he's on the edge of musical genius or mental breakdown, and his sister rejects that, and she takes on the persona of gangster rapper Bree da B. You can't even make that up. But I guess it's going to be a good emotionally charged drama right there with kind of the back story of all that kind of grunge era time of the 90s. And I remember growing up during that, the grunge was just really short-lived. But next up is from Film Movement. The next few are from Film Movement. Farinelli, which I am not familiar with. I guess this is based on a true story. 18th century, nobody could live up to the fame of this opera singer, Farinelli. He was castrated as a child to preserve his angelic voice. He tours royal courts of Europe with his brother, who's a composer, and they're inseparable on and off stage, and they basically share lovers, and then there's a rivalry, and then it's craziness happens. It recreates the lives and loves of history's most fascinating musical artists. So, sounds crazy, and this won a Golden Globe for Best Foreign Language Film, and it was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film. This was from 1994. So this is, I guess, it's a French and Italian project film, but apparently it sounds crazy. I'm not familiar with the opera too much, so, but I'm kind of curious. When I first saw the cover, I was like, what is this? Next up is Marquis. I love what Film Movement is doing as well as a company, by the way. I've talked about them a bunch, but I feel like they're another company that's kind of underrated. They deserve way more appreciation. The Film Movement Classics line especially has some amazing films. Again, every time I talk about them, I talk about my two favorites, two New Zealand films, A Quiet Earth and Once Were Warriors. Both of those are just amazing films, but I've seen a ton of great films from them. So I would definitely recommend them, especially if you're into labels like Criterion Collection. It kind of reminds me a bit of them with some of the titles that they choose. But this one right here is basically about a street performer in 17th century, and then I guess the aristocratic elite kind of really enjoy her work, and then she becomes a famous actress, and she becomes a mistress of a rival playwright, and she marries somebody famous as well, I think, and she's basically performing for King Louis the 14th. So I don't know, it sounds interesting. Street performer to famous actress from the 17th century. Next up is Farinelli, another one of these Farinellis right here. I was like, oh, look who's back. Back again. Next up is a Mexican Western, which I'm really excited to check this one out. Time to Die. And it stars Jorge Martinez de Hoyos from Magnificent Seven. And fresh from serving 18 years in prison for shooting a man in self-defense, he gets back to his hometown and he's trying to rekindle his romance with his old flame. But the two sons of the man he killed are consumed by revenge, and they've been waiting his return. So I guess it's just a shootout with that. And this is the directorial debut of he was 21 at the time, Arturo Ripstein. And this was Mexican novelist, essayist Carlos Fuentes did the dialogue right here. But this is only 89 minutes, but I'm definitely excited to check this out. Westerns, I didn't used to be a big fan of, but recently, the past few years, I found some amazing Westerns, and I really started to enjoy the genre. But again, I love this company, Film Movement, and especially their classics line. A lot of times they'll have booklets in here, you know, talking about the film, behind-the-scenes photos. They have interior artwork, which I'll go ahead and give you a shot there. And they have disc artwork. I like the clear cases. Again, a really good company, and the releases are top-notch. Yeah, here are Once Were Warriors and The Quiet Earth. They also did Pele the Conqueror. They have a ton of great releases. I cannot recommend Pillow Talk. I cannot recommend this company enough. I like their regular releases too. They do a lot of great international and independent films, but their Film Movement Classic line, I love it. Especially the titles that they have chosen so far. I can't wait to see what they release in the future. Please keep releasing more. Please check them out as a company. I'm not a paid spokesman or anything like that. I think if you're a fan of cinema, especially if you like labels like Criterion Collection, you'll really enjoy Film Movement. And I feel like I haven't heard anybody else talk about them. So, After Image, which is another Film Movement release. This is not part of the Film Movement Classic release, though. This was a official submission for Poland's Best Foreign Film. I think this was this last year or the year? No, this is 2017 release. So it's basically about this Polish painter, an avant-garde painter, Władysław Strzeminski. He challenged Stalinist orthodoxy in post-war Poland, and basically it's all about politics and kind of a clash of that, and basically communist authorities try to ruin him. He's a professor as well, and basically, you know, for him offering his different political opinion, they're just trying to ruin him. Basically, I think this is based on a true story as well, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. They actually talk about, there's a documentary on here, a 95-minute documentary, where the filmmaker offers a unique perspective on his work and provides keys to understanding it shortly before he passed away. So I guess after he made this, the director passed away. Andrzej Wajda. And next up are 3 films from Magnolia and then Magnet, still the same company. These are DVDs. Next up is Tyrel, which this was hugely disappointing. They mismarketed the heck out of this. They tried to trick people into thinking it was a horror movie or a thriller. It says a racial satire and horror movie all in one. There's another blurb, well, it was like the answer to Get Out. Yeah, this year's answer to Get Out. A devilish roller coaster ride. Vanity Fair, you are all liars. This is a drama. This is barely a drama. It's basically about one black guy goes to this cabin in the woods with a bunch of his friends, and he's the only black guy there. I think a few of these guys are Spanish, though. I think they kind of try to pass them off as white guys. Michael Cera is in there. He comes out of nowhere. He is ridiculous and crazy, but he was like the best part of the movie by far. And it's funny because this guy was actually in Get Out. He was the crazy brother. But basically it's about him being uncomfortable being there and not being able to relate. And they're playing R.E.M. songs, and he's like, I don't know what this is. I feel like, how do you not know R.E.M.? I don't care if you were raised in Brooklyn, listen to Biggie. You know some R.E.M. Come on. They were really trying to trick people into checking this one out as a horror movie, especially the trailers too, the way that they did it. There's no depth here. That was the biggest thing. It's just nothing really happens. He's there and he's like, oh, he walks out of a party. He tries to you know, sleep away from them, tries to get away from them. One time he gets drunk and gets out of control. And I don't know. It just, nothing really happens. He just you know, knocks some stuff over, and that's really about the gist of it. They feel a little uncomfortable, and that's about it. And I'm like, where's the depth here? Nothing really to discover, really nothing to go any further here. It scratches at the surface, and it's just hugely disappointing overall. Michael Cera was hilarious in here. I do like the lead actor. I thought he was great. He deserves to be in way more things. This is the first time I remember seeing him. Actually, no, I take it back. He was in Straight Outta Compton. But he deserves to be in way more things. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of bland and it was misrepresented big time. Not a horror movie, not a thriller. It's a drama. It just feels out of place. It should have been called Out of Place. I don't know. They do kind of, there's subtle hints of certain aspects of racism, but it's just kind of like glossed over and just not really talked about again. There's another aspect later where he walks away out of the house and goes to this lady's place that he met earlier, and I felt like he felt uncomfortable even there. And there's a whole part with that, that it feels unnecessary, but it kind of shows a different aspect of his mentality too. But anyways, I just thought it was super disappointing. It's a drama. It's not a horror movie. It's not a thriller. It's not interesting. And they actually, I remember watching this, and I remember the interview with the director, Sebastian Silva, who I've seen him act. Terrible actor, and a terrible director too. I believe I've seen something else that it's a Nasty Baby, I think. But and his interview was just terrible too. He seems very self-absorbed, and I don't know how he has been able to make these movies. And I don't know, it's weird kind of like art world kind of. I think that was part of his other movie that I saw too. Nasty Baby is like same kind of thing where just people are pretentious. The Guilty, which is an amazing film. I'd really like to get this one on Blu-ray, but for now I'm going to hold on to this DVD of it. This was one of my favorite movies of last year. I believe this was a Dutch film, but this was amazing. It basically all takes place in this like call center, like a 911 like emergency call center. And this police officer who's kind of suspended from active duty, he's placed on this until he has a court date. You kind of don't know what happens until the end of the movie as the film kind of unravels. More is explained to why he's on this kind of like suspension and placed on this emergency call duty. And in the beginning, he just hears emergency calls from people who are idiots, like people who are taking drugs and people who are, you know, fell down on their bike and stuff like that. And he's just like, oh, why am I having to deal with this stupidity? And then he has a real call about someone who is like kidnapped essentially, and there's like a violent thing that happens. And there's one scene that I could totally see coming with the one kid. But then after that, I definitely didn't see the main big twist. I was really shocked by that, and I actually really loved it. And I thought it was definitely one that was very enthralling and engaging. It's a pulse-pounding drama. It's one of those ones where the majority of the film is shot in this one location. And it's just a really good thrill ride, really well written, very engaging and well done. And I love how it plays out. And I love kind of like the moral ambiguity, especially of the certain characters too. And I really like the message overall. There's a little bit more from the ending would have made it even elevated even further, but I still love the heck out of it, and I would definitely recommend The Guilty if you're into dramas. It is dramatically paced at times. Next up is The Quake, which is this Norwegian. I'm trying to remember where this one came from. I know this was an international release. I know this was there was another movie that I haven't seen. Man, there's another disaster movie that I think came before this one. The Wave. It was the same people that I guess that did The Wave. I think it says after surviving the wave, they find themselves in the center of another natural disaster. So it's a big natural disaster movie. Yeah, Norway. Yeah, this time the ground beneath Oslo can't be trusted. Geologists and so yeah, just a giant. They're gonna. Will it surpass the devastating earthquake that destroyed the city in 1904? Yeah, so just a gigantic natural disaster movie. I love the slipcover to that. I've heard good things about this one, so I'm looking forward to checking this out. But yeah, this was another one that I think I've heard positive things for, but I haven't heard a ton. Like the things that I've all heard have been great, but not a ton of things about. But this one's another one where I really haven't heard many people talk about this. This is recommended to me by a friend of mine on here, and I'm so glad that he recommended this one to me. I loved this one of my favorites of last year. But gonna definitely check this one out soon. I do like natural disaster movies, but there you go. Those are the 17 titles for 40 bucks. I thought this was pretty amazing. Let me know if you think it's as amazing as I do. If you've seen any of these, what you think of them, and which one was your favorite. If you've had any great deals out there too for movies, let me know if you've got anything cool at flea markets, yard sales, any different kind of apps, Craigslist, Facebook, stuff like that. Let me know your cool deals, your best deals. Leave me those comments down below, and I hope everybody's doing well. Take care.